Hello everyone. As I mentioned in my war summary last night, the IDF had retrieved on Saturday the bodies of hostages from the Gaza Strip. Their identity has now been confirmed, and this shorter video is a follow-up focusing on that event. I'm Alon Burstein. Let's dive in. On day 331 to the war, the major news relates to the retrieval of the bodies of 6 Israeli hostages from the Gaza Strip. The 6 have been identified as Hirsch Goldberg Polin, Uri Donino, Eden Yerushalmi, Carmel Gat, Almog Sarusi, and Alex Lubnov. In total, it is 4 men and 2 women. They were located in a tunnel in Rafah, the most southern city in the Gaza Strip, roughly 1 kilometer away from the tunnel in which the IDF rescued a live Israeli hostage, Farhan Kadi, last week. Of the 6, the most quote-unquote famous is Hirsch Goldberg Polin. He is not only a U.S. citizen, which has made his name more prominent on the world stage and has also allowed for a forum for his family to speak out in the United States about the hostage situation, but there were also 2 videos in which he had appeared since the war began. One, from the October 7th attack, showed him being loaded into one of the Hamas vans with another group of Israelis who were being kidnapped, and he was seen there with severe wounds after his left arm had been blown off during the attack. The other was a Hamas video which was published between April 24th and April 25th of this year, in which Goldberg Polin is seen demanding an end to the war and that the Israeli government reach a hostage deal. According to what has been published, the tunnel that they were located in was some 20 meters deep underground, in a vicinity where the IDF had been operating in based upon assessments that hostages were being held in the area. The IDF reported that the 6 were located in the tunnel, however that the military did not have prior intelligence about their exact whereabouts, and that there was no gun battle involved. The military simply stumbled upon, quote-unquote, these bodies. The military stated that there was an assessment that this group of hostages was being held in the area. This assessment may be associated with a statement that Hamas issued on May 13th, shortly after the IDF began its invasion of Rafah. On that day, the Al-Qassam brigades put out a statement stating that as a result of intensive Israeli bombardments, the movement had lost contact with guards that were guarding a group of 4 Israeli hostages, including Hirsch Goldberg Polin. So it is possible that it is associated with Hamas's statement that they lost contact with the guards of Polin and the IDF's assessment that these hostages were being held in that area. Again, that is speculation on my part. According to what has been published by the IDF today, the bodies were found unguarded, and an autopsy that was performed in Israel showed that the 6 were executed, being shot in the head at close range at some point between Thursday and Friday morning, i.e. 2 to 3 days ago. Hamas in turn put out 2 official contradictory statements throughout the day, one stating that the hostages had been killed in an IDF bombing, and later a different statement contradicting this, stating that the hostages had been killed by IDF gunfire. According to intelligence estimates that were published in Israel, the assessment is that Hamas guards guarding the hostages may have heard the IDF activity in the vicinity, and they executed the hostages under quote-unquote standard procedure, that is, the orders that Hamas has given to its guards to execute hostages if a rescue operation is attempted. What I mean by that, by standard procedure, is that this was not a direct order from the Hamas command structure to execute those hostages specifically between Thursday and Friday, but rather that the guards may have been operating on older orders to execute hostages if a rescue operation is attempted. Again, according to reports, that is the current assessment in Israeli intelligence. Following these events, there have been major protests that erupted within Israel, including a general strike being called tomorrow and massive mobilization in the streets as protesters are demanding that the government reach a hostage deal. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant called upon the Israeli government today to retract its vote from a few days ago regarding the demand that Israel maintain its presence along the Philadelphia line, stating among others, and I quote, "The decision taken in cabinet was under the guise of we have time, and if we want to see live hostages, then we are out of time." Gallant also added that the cabinet decision is an unnecessary complication to the hostage negotiations, adding that the values guiding the government's decision to insist on remaining in the Philadelphia line at the expense of the lives of hostages is a dark stain on the government. Other cabinet ministers, in turn, heavily criticized Gallant throughout the day, with Prime Minister Netanyahu's office issuing statements that, quote, Gallant has lost it, and Prime Minister Netanyahu himself clarifying that the latest events do not change his position about the Philadelphia line, and that changing this position would be a, quote, prize for terrorism. With this, the number of hostages remaining in the Gaza Strip is now 101. Those 6 hostages executed were among those who were considered alive, and thus the number of hostages that are confirmed dead by the IDF still remains at this point at 35. Different leaks, however, throughout the last several months had estimated that both Israeli intelligence and U.S. intelligence believed that maybe only 50 hostages were remaining alive. Now, with those 6 being killed, that number may be closer to 45, but again, those are leaks. The official number, in Israel at least, is that 35 hostages are dead out of the 101 that remain in the Gaza Strip. That is my brief highlight from today. If you find these reports informative, please do remember to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications if you want to know when reports come out. Please send these summaries on to anyone who you think may be interested in the war. I'm Alon Burstein. I'm a visiting assistant professor and Israel Institute fellow in the Department of Political Science at Tufts University. Thanks for watching.